when members of Congress were considering regulating certain things like bump stocks following the mass shooting that occurred in Las Vegas? Well, if you've forgotten, so have members of Congress, because nothing has been done. And the shooting took place weeks ago, and every passing day it becomes less and less likely that they will do something to ban or regulate bump stocks. Now, bump stocks are essentially devices that are utilized to turn a semi-automatic weapon into a weapon that acts as an automatic weapon. And so this is an issue, and that is exactly what was used by the Las Vegas mass shooter. Now, there were some attempts, there were examples of legislation that were written by both members of the House and the Senate, but they have gone nowhere. So for example, a bill was introduced by Representatives Carlos Curbelo and Seth Moulton, and it had 20 co-sponsors in total, 10 Democratic and 10 Republican, so it was a bipartisan effort. But aides say that there is no indication that the House Judiciary Committee is going to consider that bill. That's based on reporting by Sam Stein at the Daily Beast. Now, the NRA even came out and said, okay, we're open to regulating bump stocks, but they did something, I would argue something clever, and we didn't realize it at the time. So essentially what the NRA said was, maybe the ATF should be in charge of regulating it. But the ATF is not a regulatory body. It's not Congress. They're not able to write and pass legislation. That is the job of Congress. And essentially what the NRA did there was give Congress a pass. So if they do nothing, they can just be like, well, it's the ATF that's supposed to do something about it. ATF responds and says, no, we don't write laws. We don't draft legislation.
No, it goes a little further than that, because it sounds like, well, the ATF's an executive branch, and so they might be able to regulate, but there is a specific law forbidding the ATF from regulating this issue. So they know that, so they go, okay, this will be a cute little trick. We'll say that we're in favor of regulating bump stocks, and everybody will report that on the front page. Oh, NRA being reasonable, moderate NRA, etc. But we know that when they go to do a bill, we'll tell everybody, we'll spend, you know how much the NRA spent on the last election? $50 million, almost all going to Republicans. So then we'll tell all the Republicans, don't you dare do legislation, go to the ATF instead. And it'll seem like, oh, what, they're doing regulation, they're bringing it to the ATF. But they already know that the ATF cannot regulate it based on a previous law. So it is a complete dirty trick. So they're laughing at you for all the people who died during using this, in essence, fully automatic weapon, going, we tricked you, and you know how many people died? So not only did we have 58 people who were dead in just Las Vegas alone, but 546 people were injured. He mowed down 600 people. You know why? When you have the bump stock, you can fire 800 bullets in a minute.
But people need that for like hunting and stuff.
Totally. When a swarm of deer or bunnies attack you, you really need to be able to fire 800 bullets in a minute. The only reason to fire 800 bullets in a minute is to murder as many humans as possible. Doesn't help you with hunting, and if an intruder comes in, you really need 800 bullets fired in a minute, okay? So no, it is to murder people, and the NRA, they are merchants of death. They profit off of death, so they think it's really cute to trick you guys after your loved ones have died. And you think, well, okay, I mean, that was one off. I mean, Jesus, that was a really bad incident, but does that happen all the time? Of course, not only do we have the mass shootings that happen literally every day. Last year, 2016, there were more mass shootings than there were days in the year. That's when more than 4 people get shot at one time. But since the Vegas shooting, there have been 900 people killed from gun homicides, for gun-related deaths, and it hasn't even been a month. It's just been 3 weeks. So they know that, and they know that people die from this. And some of it is obviously Vegas was bump stocks. The others are normally just handguns, and they make money every time. They don't care that your family members die, and so they bought off all these politicians, and these politicians like Paul Ryan, who said, "Oh no, I'm going to kill the bill. There's no way we're voting on that bill.
Let's just not waste our time anymore, right? So every time there's a mass shooting, let's go ahead and cover it and give you guys the details and the facts of how many people were gunned down because of inaction in Congress and a refusal to do anything because they're getting their pockets padded by people, running the NRA. But let's not talk about legislation anymore. Let's not waste our time, because every single time there's a mass shooting, by the way, again, 900 people have died due to gun violence since the Vegas shooting. Doesn't matter, since it's not 58 people at a time, it doesn't even get any coverage anymore. It's become so commonplace in the US. But I'm just tired of having the same conversation over and over again. Yeah. It's gonna lead to nowhere. There's nothing to be done, okay? And the people in power in this country have no empathy and no sympathy for individuals who A, lost their lives, or the family members who lost their loved ones as a result of this inaction by our lawmakers. No, so it's just, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of having this nonsensical, conversation over and over again. It's beyond frustrating.
So look, this is why I harp on money in politics, because that's the answer. This isn't about gun control. We don't live in a democracy. If we lived in a democracy, we would have gun control right now. Associated Press recent poll, 61% of people say they favor tougher gun laws. When you make it specific and say federal background checks, the number jumps to 93%, okay? Now, but overall, just vague, gun laws, are they good enough? 61 say no, they're not good enough, make them tougher. 27% say they should remain unchanged. Only 11% want them to be looser. So in a democracy, the 61%, certainly the 93% would win super easy. But we don't live in a democracy. We have privatized the elections. So, we talk about privatizing things they shouldn't do, like healthcare. Are you kidding me? We privatized the entire government. So it is privately financed elections. So Paul Ryan, the Republicans that are in charge, take that money. They spend it largely in TV ads, and then all of a sudden TV loves money in politics. They don't cover the corruption ever, and they buy these elections by having a lot more money, and then they turn around and go, 93% want a federal background check. I don't care. I don't care what you stupid voters want. The Koch brothers gave me money. NRA gave me money. I do as they tell me to do. They're the one who put me in office by running all those deceptive ads, pretending that I was on your side, when in fact, I literally make money off of you dying, whether it's in healthcare or in the NRA situation. So Anna's right. The next time, it doesn't matter if
it doesn't matter. Every time there's a mass shooting, we all know how it's gonna play out. And look, and every single time each one of us goes through TSA when we're trying to travel, and we're getting groped, and we're going through these scanners and exposing ourselves to radiation and having these semi-nude images taken of us, we go through all of that out of fear that the bad actors might take advantage of a lack of security, right? But when it comes to an issue like this, doesn't matter how many people get gunned down in any type of mass shooting. Doesn't matter if it was 500 people who died rather than getting injured. Doesn't matter, nothing would have changed. When those kids died, nothing was done. 58 people were gunned down recently, nothing was done. The death toll, I guarantee you, will be higher in the future, and nothing will be done. Nothing will be done, because who cares? American lives mean nothing to our politicians compared to the amount of money that they can receive from corporations and lobbying groups like the NRA.
So to give you context on these numbers, in 3 months, you'll have as many people dead, actually in less than 3 months, as you had on 9/11, just from gun violence. And yes, it is an absolute fact, and you track this through all the different countries that have different gun laws, that the stricter the gun control is, the less people die from gun deaths. And it's also super obvious, but it's backed up by overwhelming data. So those people die to the scale of 9/11 every 3 months. Anna's right. We go through, oh my God, the shoe bomber, the underwear bomber, both of them unsuccessful. Oh no, we can't even take 1% chance. Take off your jacket, your belt, strip down naked, or do all this stuff. Well, how about the 4 9/11s that happen every single year because of gun violence? Nope, no way. We can't even regulate it even 1%. It's the exact opposite, right? You're on a terrorism watch list, doesn't matter. You get to buy guns. You have mental problems, it doesn't matter, you get to buy guns. You wanna buy fully automatic guns in essence now and shoot 800 bullets a minute? Yes, sure. You wanna murder cops with armor-piercing bullets while we pretend to be for Blue Lives Matter? Doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. You wanna be a criminal and make sure that your guns can't be tracked by your fingerprints? Great, let's make you criminal, allow you to be criminals easier. And then they say, oh, well, no, gun control doesn't work because, like, look, California has slightly tougher gun laws, but there's still violence with using guns in California. And I always say, we're in an ocean of guns, right? So you know what they did? They did a study in the Annals of Internal Medicine that was just released on Tuesday. Deaths and injuries in California towns after a gun show held in Las Vegas. So it's a California town kind of near Las Vegas. They're not California towns that close to Las Vegas, but still, after the gun show in Vegas, the towns in California, their gun deaths and injuries jump by 70%.
That's weird, Cenk, but I thought if one state had stringent gun laws, then there would be no gun violence, right? Because we have gigantic walls on the border of every state, and we're not one country. We're just all these separate states that have their own governing bodies and have gigantic walls that prevent, any guns from going. We're one country. That argument drives me absolutely insane because it's disingenuous, right? When people say, oh, well, this one city or this one state has strict gun laws, that city or state's laws don't matter when you consider the fact that we are swimming in guns, when you consider the fact that people can buy pretty much as many guns as they want at the back of a truck at a gun show. So no, you need a comprehensive approach. You need a federal approach, okay? The gun laws in a local level don't matter at all, all.
All right, so last thing on this, guys.
It's just so frustrating.
Okay,
and
the last thing that TV does, which is the propaganda they do that drives me crazy is, they say, well, look, you gotta understand, it's the culture of America and it's the old West and that's how this country came up and that's why people love their guns. No, 93% of Americans want a federal background check. You are 100% wrong about the culture of America. It has nothing to do with the culture. Yes, there's a portion of the culture that loves guns, I understand that. But is it the majority of the country? No, it's not, we have polling to prove it. What it is the corruption. The gun manufacturers bought the politicians so they don't care. What do you want, 99% they agree on a federal background check? That's not the issue. The issue is we have privatized financing of elections and they work for those private interests, including the gun manufacturers. So it doesn't matter if 58 people were killed or 158 people were killed in that incident. Doesn't matter if it was 900 or 9,000 people who die every 3 weeks. The Republicans, and yes, a good portion of the Democrats, will continue to vote based on the checks that they received, because that is the system we set up, based on complete and utter corruption. TYT membership gets you commercial-free Young Turks. Download it, stream it, podcast it, get all the network shows, and support independent media. TYTnetwork.com/join.